Channel 5. I love Channel 5. I say that many, many, many times. I love them so much. Only issue I always have, and I was saying this earlier, was that their videos are always super, super, super long. However, I really like this one. This is about worker strikes inside of, okay, I haven't watched it. However, before you say fucking pre-watched, it's about worker strike stuff, with AI, if I remember correctly. We have a big, let me just say this before I actually start. How do people feel about automated jobs? And what I mean by that is this, where there might have been a job before, but now there is a machine now that's doing a job. How do you guys feel about that? I feel like for me personally, I feel like in certain situations, certain jobs, I like to say that it's great. Other times, maybe not so much. It really just depends. I think to myself, businesses are going to do that no matter what. You've seen that with AI art. You've seen this with like certain jobs where they're just more or less taken away from, I guess, the everyday person. But here's the thing. Here's the fucking thing. Businesses are always going to do that. Whatever they can do to be able to save an extra buck, that's just what's going to happen. But yeah, so my personal opinion, it really just depends on what the job is. But yeah, let's see what they actually say. Promise not pre-watched. Not fucking pre-watched.
To replace the cashiers that are there. You can see the writing on the wall for a reduction in workforce, and I think that's the thing that we're looking out for. They've already installed QR codes on the table, and we are worried that the next step is a tablet. Next step could even be a robot one day, and we need to be able to have a say in the workplace if we allow automation.
Businesses are going to hire people to handle the specific job that is at hand. I bring this up because you are not going to be at this job forever. A lot of the times with these jobs, these are jobs that people like. They are jobs that, like, again, you see a lot of these people like from high school, people that like pretty much are going to come in and out, more or less. They're not big jobs, if that makes sense. Now, I know what you're probably going to say when it comes to like, being a waiter or dealing with food. Like, don't get me wrong, you deal with some assholes. You deal with some fucking assholes. I get that. At the same time, though, you don't need a degree for this unless you're at some kind of like fancy like, what is it, culinary school? And a lot of the times when it comes to this, you are replaceable. Well, to be honest with you, a lot of jobs you are, a lot of jobs, especially nowadays, you are replaceable. At the same time, ones like this, where you're making sandwiches and stuff like that, like gone in an instant. So if they're able to make it easier, be able to save a lot of money via like using robots, then they're going to. Great example. Do you remember back in the day? You know what? Actually, Dan, that's a good one to say. Low intelligent job. I'm not saying that it's like people are dumb, but just think about this. Less labor. It's something where it's like you're not a mechanic, you're not an engineer, you're not somebody that needs to have all of this knowledge or, more physical work. It's more something that they can just be like, hey, boom, like we can change you out any fucking time. I was going to use the example of back in the day when we used to have factory workers. Not saying that we don't still. Trust me, I used to work for a pails and lid like company. I remember they were trying to automate the pails and lids. And what that is more or less is pretty much they would have a machine and then they would make like pails, and all you had to do really was put labels on them. And then we would have like a forklift driver and put them all there. It seems very simple, but we still had to have people to do that and to like check things and yada, yada, yada. But a lot of companies, if they can find a way to make it so that they don't have to need, like if they don't need you, they're going to be saving money. They're going to do it. So do I like it? I like to say, regardless of if I like it or not, it's going to happen. Just like with like AI art and everything else, even though I feel like it's very lazy, companies are going to do it anyway. So it's more like embracing it because it's going to happen, and does not matter how much you fight back. Companies are going to just do it. Like, what are you going to say? What are you going to do? If Walmart's going to do something, or if your favorite game company is going to do it. Like, I think if I remember correctly, Activision did it with one of their, like, I think it was one of the Christmas zombies, and it had like 6 fingers. It sucks, but like, hey, if they can save a couple of extra bucks, they totally will.
It's just going to take
it's profit
customer
maximizing.
service, away. It's going to take service out of customer service, and that's not what people want.
They hate workers.
That's not true. A lot of people nowadays, I mean, I know for me sometimes when I'm going into a store and stuff like that, like I'm like, hey, I want to be able to talk to somebody, try to get their opinion on whether it's like certain foods. Like, hey, I've gone to a cafe. I'm like, hey, what is your special? What is your specialty? Or if I go to a restaurant, yes, I will want to do that. But sometimes if it's like, hey, I want a bagel, like I don't want to talk to nobody. Also, I used to have piercings just like that. Now I just have like the one.
They hate us so much that they want to automate us away. They
Also, look at that haircut.
hate us more than they love their profits. I am an anarchist, so like, yeah, I do believe that like hierarchies and like places of power like cause violence, and that's pretty much all they do.
Have you ever like, and don't get me wrong, I do this too. I sometimes mumble. But have you ever heard somebody like talk about like a serious topic and you're like, what? Like, I think I understand what you're trying to say, but like, I don't know. It makes you feel like they're not as educated on the topic. It's like, yeah, like that happens, but like, I don't know. It's very bare bones. You know what I mean? Like to me, it sounds very bare like bones. But you want to know what I think this is? I have gone, okay, something that I've noticed big time, especially after doing a lot of reaction stuff, is I feel like a lot of people just don't give a fuck anymore. And don't get me wrong, like, we live in a society, we live in a world now where like a lot of people just could care less, especially for jobs and stuff like that. But I don't know, have a little bit of a backbone in there. Have a little bit of backbone. Like, it just feels like you're like, whatever. Guess I'll go jump off a fucking bridge. I'm like, Jesus, like, don't give up that easy. Like, I don't know.
Do you think that profit over people is going to last forever? Or do you think that late-stage capitalism is just going to death spiral so hard that we have to ultimately kind of level the playing field and create a new society?
Well, some people have to get...
I mean, we could always reset. I'm just saying. Just try again. We can try again. I'm just saying, chat.
Developing news today out of New York City, where the CEO of United Healthcare was shot and killed in broad daylight. It's believed he was targeted, but it's unclear why.
We never talked about that. I think it's because I was gone. But let me tell you something. My thoughts on the matter is this. Violence. Is it ever the answer? I like to say no. But at the same time, though, not trying to justify murder, clearly, but I was military, and let me tell you, a lot of the times we would have to, go a little bit to the extreme to be able to get the job done. Let's say that. At the same time, though, it is a big, tricky topic. Let's just say that, because I like to say this: when we try to do the same thing over and over again, and we see zero fucking change. A lot of the times people go into a point where it's like, all right, well, I'm gonna take it into my own hands. And then sometimes things do change, or sometimes it gets worse. It varies. It really just depends. So I don't know. It's hard to say. But my thought on the matter with that is I would need to know more. Let's just say that. I would never want to talk on something that I don't know, but I would need to know more of how he was thinking. Again, as someone that's going to become like a therapist, I like to pick someone's brain first before I'm like, okay, so this is probably what they were doing. So
I hope it's not me.
So it's like a 50-50 thing.
Did you know that every Thanksgiving, 75.9 million Americans use airports like Phoenix Sky Harbor to travel to go see family elsewhere in the world? It's crazy, right?
By the way,
big week.
I have a question.
Guess what?
I have a question. Who's all traveling for the holidays? Let me just say this. Please be safe. Please be safe out there. Y'all are my family. So I want to make sure that y'all come back. You hear? I haven't been in the South in a minute. I used to be saying. I don't even know if anyone says that. I think that's like an old folk thing. I think that's an old folk thing now. Hey, listen, regardless if you're traveling or not, just know you know where to find your real family. Right here, baby. Or at least your second family. Let's just say that. Your second family. If you don't got somewhere to be, you know where to find us. On Twitch or
There's
YouTube
a lot
now.
of beef right now at the airport. You know why?
Hundreds of restaurants and concession employees on strike, planning to continue their protest tomorrow.
And because of this, restaurants and concessions will be shut down. The workers with HMS Host, a vendor operating many of the restaurants and coffee shops inside the terminals, say it's time for their demands to be met.
But they won't. But they won't. Especially for a job like that. Again, not the low IQ, but I like to say it's something that is, you don't need a lot of, well, I guess technically speaking, you don't need a lot of thought on. I mean, clearly, please don't make it so you like overcook and or burn my fucking food, clearly. But this is a job that, again, a teenager can qualify for. So when a job thinks about that, that means that it is a lower priority job. And you want to know what happens? We'll just get brand new people because there's always somebody that wants to work. Great example. I think I've used this example. I'm trying to remember. So I used to hire people for, you know, that pails and lid light company. So we had to get rid of a whole bunch of people. I remember because they were trying to, again, get higher wages. And again, I worked for this company because, of course, you need that money, baby. Got to pay for them bills. But I remember my boss came up to me and was like, hey, so we're going to probably have to get rid of like about 80% of people here. And I was like, okay. So I would have to go and talk to people, bring them in, be like, hey, you're not meeting up to standards. And then what they wanted me like to do was they like, and this sounds super fucking shitty, but they wanted me to get illegals because they're cheaper. It's crazy. The business world is wild. It is wild, but that's what a lot of fucking companies do because they know that they can find easier, better, cheaper people that will not say anything. They won't say anything. They'll keep working, especially if it's a job that is easy to do. But on like the contrary, so cybersecurity, that is one of the best jobs right now. You get paid very well and they're in demand. When you have a job that needs like a degree that like is in like demand, especially for like physical labor, because a lot of people don't want to do that nowadays. A lot of them are harder to get like fired in because we need more. We need more people in that career field. So it really just like it depends on what it is, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's my from what I've seen from my own personal like business. My own personal business, my own like personal like experience with like work.
The workers say they want what
Mr.
most
Krabs is
American
definitely real.
workers want.
100%.
That's the ability to keep food on their table and a roof over their heads.
Employees want better pay, healthcare, and retirement plans, especially after the pandemic.
It's just become very clear that we've gotten to a point where the things that we are asking for are falling on dead ears with the company, with HMS.
But,
and again, if your job is easy to do or easier compared to like physical labor or things where you need like a degree for it, especially physical labor, that is I can't say this like enough, but that is in demand right now because especially after COVID, people didn't want to work. They don't want to work. They don't want to build. They don't want to do all the things that we need. And remember, like, you have to understand, especially here in America, pretty much everyone has an AC. Everyone has to do something with plumbing. Everyone has to do something with, what else? Electricity. All these things are all physical stuff. And also you need to be at least a little smart when it comes to some of this. So those are all trade school stuff. So I would highly recommend going to trade schools because trade schools are a lot cheaper than a degree. I think like a degree could be around like, what is it? Like 40K. While trade school would be like 10K, if not cheaper. So it just, just stuff to think about.
HMS Host paints a different picture.
Yeah, they're not going to change. They're not going to do it.
Benefits. And in a statement says the strike, quote, serves to hurt the traveling public and the HMS Host associates who continue to work during this difficult time.
So we're going to go to a protest, specifically a Phoenix Sky Harbor food service anti-automation protest. We're going
Phoenix
to meet
Sky
up with
Harbor
some
is
Dunkin'
huge.
Donuts employees that may or may not
I'm trying to
be being
remember the
replaced by
biggest, what is the biggest airport? I'm trying to remember, but if I remember correctly, Phoenix Harbor is a bigger airport. Because I remember Phoenix is just like a big like place overall, if I remember correctly. Also, Kyle, let me tell you something, which by the way, hello there. Other than a course, and I feel like I'm giving like work, you don't have to listen to me, but if you know a second language, you are in a good place too. You are in a really good fucking place. So being able to do something that is a little bit more physical, such as like, you know, electricity, electrician, maybe HVAC, maybe a plumber. Also, if you know multiple languages, you're in a good spot. You're in a really good fucking spot, especially in America. Because here's the thing, in other places around the world, actually, it's pretty common to have people that have more than 2 or 3 languages. While America, we just speak American, baby. Let me tell you. However, if you know like Spanish or like other, like, well, a lot of Spanish, definitely Spanish. If you want to like get ahead of the game, Spanish, definitely. Español. That'll help out a ton.
Robots in the near future. And we want to ask some of the employees about how they feel robots pose an existential threat to the American working class.
My name is Winona Rue, and I work at the Dunkin' Donuts in Terminal 4. There's 2 kiosks, like, at the front. No one really uses them, but the way it works,
I bet you
really
they do.
Sucks, and it's like less efficient than just going up and ordering.
That's not true though. Like, okay, well, maybe to an extent. But there's a lot of, especially nowadays, there's a lot of people that don't want to talk to people. They got the loners, they got the, I didn't want to say creepers, but they have people like myself that don't want to talk to no one. So maybe they just want to press some buttons, boom, 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 and it's done. That's it. And a lot of people like that. Including myself. Again, it really depends on the situation. Like I said, if I'm at a restaurant or in a place like maybe like a cafe, or maybe, which I don't really go out, but hypothetically, go to a place where it's more mom and pop. Like clearly they have things that are a lot different, you know? Definitely a lot different. Okay, not creeper. I think someone said that earlier and it's just stuck in my head now. But yeah, the kiosks are probably like 50-50. Sometimes they don't work really well, and other times they're great because then people don't have to communicate.
They don't even put the work into the kiosks that they need to have them operate properly, if at all.
It's making our job harder because there's all kinds of stuff in the system that we don't have, or
now
that we do
sucks.
have that's not available, and the prices are wrong, and it just makes our job so much harder than just actually going to the table and talking to people ourselves.
That is like the equivalent. And if any military members are like here, if you've ever had to deal with like, okay, I'm gonna use like the Air Force. So they have a system where like they can pretty much mark all of your schooling, your like CBTs, pretty much everything. However, either A, sometimes they don't mesh where like you'll have something in like the system saying, hey, I did this, and they don't like connect, or B, they're changing the goddamn system every fucking month. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? You know, they always say, oh, we're the most technologically like, I guess military branch because I was Air Force. But let's be real. First off, those computers barely work. Those computers barely fucking work. Not to fucking mention, it's just like everything that they want to do for their systems are just fucking rubbish. Trash. Fucking trash. I don't know. I fucking hate it. And don't even get me started when it comes to like, smaller maybe example. So we just barely hooked up our YouTube chat, which by the way, come and join us on our streams. I'd love to have you. But we just barely started our like the YouTube side of like things. So if anyone ever like subbed or whatever you guys like call it, I could never see it. I feel like that's like the equivalent of their issue, because if I can't see it or if it's not connected, I am so mad. I'm like, what is this shit? What is this shit? Also, Kev, thank you so much for the 11 months and the tier 3. Jesus. I appreciate you. Thank you.
They'll send
like
an
if
order
it's not connected and it doesn't work, it just it's a headache. It is a fucking headache
on our screen. So we won't even, unless we're actively looking at it, we're not going to know about it.
That's how I felt about the YouTube stuff, which made me feel really honestly, it just pissed me off.
It's really not efficient.
They're down more often than they are usable. They are not connected to any of our computers at Dunkin' Donuts, so we have no idea what anybody orders. And then they'll come up to us all angry with a receipt.
have a roofing company. You work at Dunkin' Donuts. Who the fuck is being ignorant? I made $350,000 last year. I'm fucking ignorant.
It's for.
I feel so bad for anyone that has to deal with food. Like, again, anyone that has to deal with, like, because I've heard some really bad stories about, like, some of my friends back, like, especially in, like, high school. Anything that involves, like, McDonald's, like, Taco Bell, pretty much anything that's, like, fast food. So that's why, like, I'm not knocking on anyone's job. So if you do this, like, I'm not saying, like, oh, you fucking suck. Because listen, we got to work. And the fact that you have a job compared to, like, many others, good for fucking you. However, because, you know, a lot of us are working, in this economy right now, it's pretty fucking bad. So I always tell you guys to save your fucking money. But, like, regardless, like, it's pretty bad, and people need to learn not to act like fucking assholes. Like, relax. Fucking relax. It's just, honestly, it's irritating. I'm just so surprised that people will act like that. It's really sad. It really is. It really is. Also, Private, thank you so much for the raid. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Like, why is that even there?
I think they're just trying to squeeze every penny they can out of the entire experience and to allow
That's
people
business.
to do it themselves.
That's business. It will always happen that way, regardless of if you hate it or not. If you hate it or fucking not, it will happen this way every single time. I used the factory workers, like, a while back, and let me tell you, it's like, clearly they lost a lot of jobs because guess what? Well, I have somebody that can, I'm trying to give you, like, an example. Trying to think of, like, some old school, like, JOB, like, people that would put labels on, like, cans or, like, something. Like, I'm trying to think. Maybe that's a bad one, but, like, clearly they have machines for that now. They have machines for that. They can do that. They can pretty much, like, automate everything. So even though people will strike and people will be like, no, you can't do this, they'll do it. It'll happen. Also, hi, Private. Thank you so much for the raid. I really appreciate that.
Just makes it
It'll happen every single time.
And easier
every
for the
single
company.
fucking time.
Do you feel like you enjoy your job?
If they can save $5,
No, I've worked
they will.
customer service for 5 years. I don't enjoy this. I'm here for the paycheck. It would have been more profitable.
But it's not a lot. It's not a lot. Again, it's good to have a job so you can pay for your bills and everything. I'd like to ask this person. I'd be like, hey, have you done anything to actually advance yourself? Because there are a lot of people that'll be like, oh, I've done this for years and years, and it's like, I fucking hate this. And I'm like, well, have you done anything to try to advance, whether it's school, whether it's just applying for somewhere else? And 9 out of 10 times, it's like, no, I haven't. It's because it's, what is that? It is the comfortability of having at least something. Some people could say, like, brats, but really it's just somebody that doesn't see themselves very, very highly. So this is, like, what they think that they can do now. They're like, well, this is all I got. Insulting fast food workers. That's a way to just be unpleasant surprises for your Billy. Let me tell you, if anyone spat in my food, I'd be so fucking pissed. But here's the thing, I don't be talking to people like that. Doesn't matter what career field, doesn't matter what you fucking do. Show some fucking respect. Again, at the end of the day, humans. We're all humans. We're all part of the same fucking team, you know? But yes, when I see stuff like that, when we were talking about, like, hey, have you tried to do anything else? A lot of the times I'd be like, no. But again, we've been watching lots of videos as of late, and it's like a common trend that I've been seeing it inside of the comments, like, is that hopelessness of, like, why even try? Like, that is something that's very, very, very common. And again, I will say this every single time. I know some people are like, well, it doesn't matter. But I will still say, you gotta, the moment that you think that way, the moment that goes inside your head, then that's it. That's it. You will go nowhere else. Like I said, I was a poor ghetto baby. I found a way to get out of my situation. And again, it doesn't happen to everybody. But one thing that I noticed was I did not want to be like my friends, like my family, that just said, well, this is all I know. So I get it. It is easy to give up, but you gotta try.
For them to, like, agree to this contract.
Again, I don't think that's a hot
really
take, but,
like demonstrating, right?
I don't know.
Like
I've seen lots of people inside of my, like,
Thanksgiving.
comment section whenever we're talking about, like, giving up. We're like, well, there's no, like, there is nothing for me. Like, I can't do it. And again, it does feel like that. It does feel like that. But here's the thing. It's not like that. It is hard out there, but you can do anything. First off, I believe in you. If you need somebody to fucking believe, I believe in you. Like, you gotta believe in yourself. But if you need somebody to give you a boost, there are people that give a fuck. There are. It's kind of small, but there are. There really are.
This is the busiest travel time in the whole year. And
like, I know it's not just me that has come from the slums.
In order for them to listen to us
inside
and
a
for them
chat.
to know that we're
I
serious.
know there are people that are come from the slums and done great things.
To the workforce?
You are
People
examples.
want human interactions. As much as people want to say that, you know, AI and automation is the way, people that come through the airport, they don't want to continue to serve themselves. You know, they want to sit down and relax and not have to think about everything and allow somebody to take care of them.
I don't think people want to talk. I don't think people want to talk as much as you think they do. Now, don't get me wrong. Some people do like to yap, but like most people, especially in airports, because again, I was military, so I traveled a ton. I traveled a fucking ton. And a lot of times you're like, just give me my fucking sandwich. Just give me my fucking sandwich. So, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure there are some fucking people, like if anyone's seen any like nanas or fucking tatas, or I guess grandma and fucking grandpa. Yeah. I don't know. At least for airports. So again, maybe I'm at the wrong ones, but from what I've seen, that's kind of, you know, that's what I've seen. Also, hi, Junie. How are you doing? It's good to see you. Hello there.
As a server, I don't want to be relegated to a glorified food runner at the end of the day where, you know, the customer is doing my job. And that's not part of the experience that we want when we go out to eat. We actually want to be served.
We're emotional support humans for people that come through here sometimes, but I do like that I get to have a lot of interactions with a lot of really cool people.
I mean, part of the best part of my day is getting to talk with the guests.
I love when people just get pissed off in like public. I'm just like, oh my God. I'm like, wait a minute, let me get some fucking popcorn first.
Get to know them. See why
God,
they're
I'm telling
traveling,
you, some people just do not have control over their fucking emotions. That's why we have politics. Some people are like, fuck you, bitch. It's like a tribalism thing, but I'm just like, Jesus fucking Christ, relax. It's almost as if like they didn't learn how to like act like a fucking like adult. Like, it's like, relax. Take your fucking meds. Take your fucking meds.
You joking around like
or something.
That's what
Jesus.
people come into a full service experience for. If they didn't want that, they would just
also.
go and
I've
grab
never
a sandwich
seen
and go sit by
somebody
the
do a
gate.
high
So I
five.
feel like they're taking that away in the name of profit.
Yo, what's up? Los Angeles,
but it's always
California,
gonna be like that.
9:30 a.m. I just
it's
went
always
inside that
gonna
Dunkin'
be
Donuts
like
right
that.
there, and I'm not gonna lie.
Like, chat, listen. Am I wrong for saying that? Like, when you go to here, actually, hold on.
See why they're traveling, where they're going
One second.
Joking around like.
Do you see this a lot? Because again, I don't know about you, especially when I'm traveling. Like, I'm usually on the phone, like, hi, let me make sure I don't miss my fucking plane. I'm not high-fiving people like, all right there, friend. Now, don't get me wrong. This is adorable. This is adorable. I love this. But like, their points, even though there are probably a few people, because again, it's not always 100%, but a lot of people just want to get in and get out. Now, especially in the air, like the airports, but like, don't get me wrong, it's like everywhere. It's everywhere. It is everywhere.
That's what people come into a full service experience for. If they didn't want that, they would just go and grab a sandwich and go sit by the gate. So I feel like
and that's what a lot of people
they're
do.
taking that away in the name of profit.
Yo, what's up? Los Angeles, California,
you know, I see a lot of people that want more like, hey, I need some attention in restaurants. That's where I see it. In restaurants.
30 a.m. I just went inside
and
that
not
Dunkin'
even
Donuts
then.
right there, and I'm
like,
not
sometimes
lie.
yes, sometimes
there was,
no.
in fact, a kiosk. There was no human interaction happening. You had a counter dividing two classes of people, the working class and the consumer class, with no cross-verbal traffic at all. It was solitary, somewhat awkward, probably bad for the employees because they're understimulated, I think. But for me, I honestly kind of enjoyed it. Got to walk in there, headphones in.
Thank you.
Didn't have to talk to anybody.
Exactly. Like, you could, even though I feel like I haven't been doing this as much, but you can come back from a run and you're like, that felt great. And then you might want to go and get like a donut or maybe a bagel, coffee. And you're like, listen, I'm just listening to some music. I'm still vibing. I just want to done and done. So I like that. For me personally. And again, I'm sure there are other people that want to, you know, be able to talk to someone, talk about their day. But a lot of the times, even if I'm not like going out for a run or like having my own, like, my time is special. I talk to a lot of people every single day with my fucking job. Again, I may sound like a fucking bitch, but really I don't want to yap with people. I mean, you guys, that's like a whole different story. But when it comes to like doing all of this, yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good.
About anything going on, and now look at it. I have a perfect oat milk infused 16-ounce Dunkin' Donuts coffee in my hand.
The only time that I really like to yap with people is when I know that a certain so when a certain like fast food place fucks up on my order, I want to make sure I'm like, hey, I need this, this, and this specifically. So sometimes with the like, okay, so with the machine, sometimes it doesn't fully get my order correctly. Like, for instance, if I ever get anything from DoorDash, get anything from fucking DoorDash, sometimes I feel like there's always going to be something wrong. Always going to be something wrong. So that's like the only time.
But that's not why I'm out here filming this. What if I told you there's a service that we use before we go into the field to see how the mainstream media is covering both sides of the issue? Well, that's true. And that service is called Ground News.
Didn't Shoeonhead do this one?
Every single day compiles
I want to say this is, I think Shoeonhead did this one also. I think with our last video.
Break out of your echo chamber and figure out
I was about to say, I feel like I've seen this twice now. Anyone use this?
That allows you to see stories not being covered by the left or the right. Full disclaimer, Ground News does cost money, as it should. It's the best in the business, and the only tool that I can think of today on the market to
get your news from the ground. You do, actually. Okay, so this is something that's decent?
Stuck inside.
I was going to say, because here's the thing. I've said this a lot. I fucking hate the news. Like, let's be real. The news is for getting people riled up. It is getting people riled up. The left side, the right side, it doesn't fucking matter. It is mainly to get people riled up and to people for fighting and hating each other. I know that sounds fucking terrible, but that is what happens every single time. Every single fucking time. So a lot of times I just don't look at the news. And when I was active, like when I looked at the news was when I'm like, okay, we're about to go off to war. That was about the only time. Everything else could care less. Could care less. Because it's all shit that I'm like, I don't care about. I know what you're trying to fucking do, and I don't want it.
Worker strikes, for an example. So I have Ground News up on my phone right now, and it says a couple weeks ago in Canada Post
also, I think I'm losing my freaking voice. Actually, hold on.
The flow of mail across the whole country. Using Ground News, you can see that 61% of the coverage is left-leaning, 21% to the center, and just 18% to the right. On the left, you can see Jacobin, who described this as a fight for the future of public services, and interviews union leaders about potential scabs crossing the picket line. And on the right, you can see the Epoch Times, who've penned an article called
because here's the thing, I like to learn about what's going on in like the world, especially now, because now I am so blessed. I am so blessed, and I thank you guys for this. I can talk about what I want when I want, and some people may not like it, but at the same time, though, I could fucking care less. I have a platform where I can yap about whatever, and it's cool to be able to go over things with y'all. I like to be able to pick your guys' brains, you know? So I like it. I live in a really good fucking time, and I'm very happy that I have you guys. So thank you for that. Thank you.
Inconveniences that are going to be faced by holiday shoppers and consumers.
At the same time, it's really hard to be able to get like the correct, like quote unquote news there. So what I do, this is, and I actually put it in for our, I think it was one of our community notes. I was like, listen, I go over these videos. Again, I could care less if it's like leaning towards one end or the other. I could care fucking less. It's something that caught my attention and I want to go over it. And if anything, let's just say it is leaning one hard left to the right or the left. Who gives a fuck? I like to hear what they have to say. You know, I don't lean anywhere. I could care fucking less. But at the same time, though, I like to see how people think. That's how I feel like nowadays people should do things. Is being able to, like, even if you don't believe in something, being able to understand how people think, that's how you grow. That's how you grow. And you never know, you might actually be surprised. You never know. You never fucking know.
Even switch countries. And guess what? For a limited time only, you can get a special discount with my link on the
I kind of want to see if this is any good.
$5 a month.
But then again, I don't really care for news too much. Chat, you're just going to have to tell me shit. And you know what, Star? I like you. It's always good for a good laugh, because then people freak out. That's
Despite
the best
strong
part about the
sentiments of
news.
these
People freak
protesters,
out.
many Thanksgiving travelers are not opposed to AI and enjoy automated kiosks
Mm-hmm.
for their convenience,
Exactly.
among other things.
What do you think about automation and AI?
I think it's a great idea.
These are usually the people that I don't expect like to like the stuff. Because listen, if you've ever worked customer service, I've noticed that old folk, they like to yap, mainly because they're not, listen, their grandkids don't want to talk to them. Nobody wants to talk to them. So with that being said, usually they like to yap. So the fact that I see this actually blows my mind a little bit. Then again, there are the cranky old like people. So maybe this might be one of them.
It just seems to make it much more swift. Some of these, it just makes traveling so much easier. We thought it was pretty neat, you know.
Over here, they're protesting, saying that it's going to kind of
Blows
take
their
away
minds, probably
jobs and
brand
stuff. What do
fucking
you think
new.
about that?
Well, you can always look at it two ways, I think, because you're creating jobs on the other side, too. You know, someone's got to build the robots, someone's got
Exactly.
to maintenance them, someone has to put the food on it somehow. It's back and forth.
I like that. Like, here's the thing, is that you might lose a couple, but then you gain a couple also. And, you know, if you think about it, the job that is being created is actually one where people have to, like, maybe go to school for a little bit of the education, being able to have more jobs where you have to, like, think about it. And how should I say, like, being able to get rid of 3 people, 2 or 3, like, people that are getting paid what, like, I guess it really depends on where, like, you live. But let's just say, like, $12 an hour. So you get rid of boom, boom, boom. And then you have just one person that's getting paid like what, 25, 26. Not only are you saving money, but also you're opening up more jobs for, I guess, are higher in like demand overall, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? Yeah, look at that. A rare, sane old person. I love it.
You know, you might lose one here, but you're going to gain another one here, I feel.
How do you...
Not pre-watched, by the way. Servers, thank you so much for the sponsor. I really appreciate that. Thank you. And also, Hockey, thank you so much for the 13 months. Thank you.
To me.
Yeah,
it's mid, below grade.
Do you feel like automation poses an existential threat to the American working class?
I'm sorry, I wasn't listening.
Do you feel like automation...
You said, say that shit again. That's me. That's me in a nutshell.
Poses an existential threat to the American working class?
He said, say that shit again.
Not at all. If you work your ass off, if you work hard, then no, you shouldn't have anything to worry about.
Frankly, there's a lot of young kids right now who don't want to work.
I like you. Remind me of my grandmama. They just don't want to work. They don't want to work. Again, before I say anything, because there's gonna be somebody in like the comment section who's like, well, I've been doing this and this thing fucking sucks. I'm like, I get that, but like, it's not just you. There's a lot of people that don't. There's a lot of people that fucking don't. And then there's a lot of people that fucking do. Think about this. I think it is actually not that hard to be able to really push yourself into a good like position. And you want to know why? Because I feel like nowadays the bar, if you guys have ever heard like, oh, where's the bar now? The bar is so fucking low that if you actually fucking try, and again, life is going to kick you in the fucking ass. It's going to punch you in the tits. It's going to punch you in the ball sack. It's going to hurt, but you got to keep trying. You keep trying, boom. You keep trying, boom, and eventually it will happen. I can't say that shit enough. I understand we live in a time of dread, but it can happen.
I don't think it'll ever be like when I grew up.
I feel like nowadays, because of TikTok and stuff, all the kids want to be YouTubers and dancers and rappers. They don't want to like be engineers and scientists and doctors anymore. And definitely not soldiers.
This one. I like this video.
Or plumbers or whatever, which to me right now, I wish I was starting a job. I wouldn't mind starting out at $50 an hour. I think
maybe not $50. Well, Does anybody live? Okay, so if I remember correctly, California has the highest wage right now. How much is it to be an engineer or a plumber inside of like California? Just curious. Yeah, I was going to say $50. Maybe not. Maybe more like 30, 35. Yeah, I was going to say, but even still, it's pretty good. Pretty fucking good.
Kids, male, female, it doesn't make any difference. I have the sense of not a not rotten real job. Just, you know, I want to just kind of do what I want. And they expect $20, $30 an hour to start. They want a new house right away. They want a new car, a new boat, a new Sea-Doo, whatever it is. And it's like, give me a break, dude, you know?
Are you pro-cap?
He said, listen, bitch, that shit does not happen. And you know, especially in this economy, kind of a thing. Kind of a fucking thing. You have to be realistic. You have to be realistic. You got to save money. You got to do all this shit. And don't get me wrong. Again, when they were probably growing up, it was probably easier to have like a house, family, etc., etc. But at the same time, though, again, if my ghetto baby ass can fucking do it, anybody can do it. Let me tell you, life was tough. Life is still tough, but it can happen. It can happen. Again, feel like I sound like a fucking, one of those like motivational public speakers, and not a good one, but like it can happen. I don't know. I just want to see people do good. Like we can do amazing things. We're humans. We're the most diverse, the most freaking, apparently supposed to be the most intelligent creatures out there. And yet sometimes I feel like a lot of people are very one note, and it's sad to see. It's like wasted potential. It is wasted fucking potential. And I just hate seeing it. I hate seeing it.
Capitalism.
Maybe it's like a mom thing.
I guess.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yes, dolphins too.
Yeah.
You're smarter than a fucking dolphin, I think so.
Like being shoved in our face, right?
Yeah.
So I guess I'll take capitalism.
Are you optimistic about the future
That's
of
a younger.
American capitalism?
About that specifically, I'm not optimistic about that if it keeps continuing, no.
How come?
Well, because it's hard to live. I mean, I live in a studio, converted from a garage, two blocks down from my landlord's McMansion. Like that's how I live.
Your landlord has a mansion? It's better than what I was doing growing up.
That's how I
feel like I lived in a box.
Give or take how I've been living for like 5 years. I mean, I've been getting a taste of the real world for like years, so like I don't know, like why do these people have to why do these people deserve anything better than what I have, you know?
I hate that. Again, that is the mentality of like, hey, to me that sounds like a victim. Sounds like a victim mentality, because again, the person that has that business went to business school, probably kicked ass with everything that they have done. So with that being said, it's like, what have you done? You have seen the world, and it can be very shitty, but what are you doing to change it? What are you doing to change it? Again, I used to, because again, I worked at like Target for a while. Now some people are like, oh, you work at fucking Target. Well, I needed the money. And one thing that I'm glad that I did, because every experience, whether it is like, you know, working at fast food or working at like, you know, a department store, you know, something that you're not making a lot. I remember this guy, and he was so, okay, a little bit older guy, but he was so happy every day to come to Target. He didn't really want to go anywhere else. He was very happy. He never complained or anything. That's what he wanted to do. And here's the thing. You can do whatever you want, however you want. But the moment that I start hearing somebody complaining, I will ask, I'm like, so what have you done to change that? And if you have said nothing, then I don't care. Like, if you are happy with where you are, that makes you happy. My papa used to say this, is like, if you're happy as like a garbage man, be a garbage man. Which, by the way, he said that as if like maybe that's a bad thing, but did you know garbage men make a ton of fucking money? It's because, again, it's a job that people don't want to do because it kind of stinks. Because it kind of stinks a little bit. But point I'm trying to make is that, like, hey, if you want a change, don't complain about it. Do something about it. Don't be one of those people that, like, again, writes on fucking Twitter and all the other fucking toxic places to be like, I can't believe this and this is a thing. Well, do something about it. Again, we live in a time right now where it's like everyone's a doomer. But if you're going to complain about something, I don't want to hear it unless you have a solution.
Oh,
For sure.
Yeah.
What are your passions outside of working here?
I mean, I do art, I guess, yeah.
What kind of art?
I draw, I guess, yeah.
That's cool.
I guess, I don't know.
After
I
this,
just
going
hate
into
that personality.
illustration or
You want to know what that reminds me of? So when I was still married, our our baby Ethan, he used to have that like shrugging, like whatever. I hate that. I'm like, I swear to God, if you shrug at me and give me the I don't give a fuck, I'm just like, listen, you little spoiled brat. I just hate little spoiled brats. I'm like, stop it. And again, if you want to be an artist, you know where we are now? On Twitch. And guess what? Or Twitch and YouTube now. And you can do that. It's learning how to market your shit. You know what I mean? Like, here's the thing. I am not a talented person. I don't draw. I don't do music. I don't do anything where it's like, hey, and I have a lot of friends that are like pros. But here's the thing. You learn how to market your shit. You can totally do it. You can totally fucking do it. You just got to make it happen. You got to figure that shit out. What if they feel like decision paralyzed? We all do. We all do. But you got to write that shit down. And then, big thing, little bits at a time. I used to live in Colorado. And you guys ever heard of Rocky Mountains? If you start at the very bottom of the Rocky Mountains, or Pikes Peak, and you look all the way up and you want to go hike it, you're going to look at that and be like, no, I don't want to do that. Because here's the thing. People are taking the whole picture and be like, fuck no, I can't do this. But what I would tell people is take little bits at a time. So what that means is like, go to one spot, be able to hike up a little bit, boom, rest spot, you're done. Enjoy that. You finally got a little bit more. And then maybe you come the next day and maybe go a little bit farther, and then a little bit farther, and then a little bit more. And eventually you will make it up to the top. Will it take a minute? Yeah, but here's the thing. It's not a race. It is not a fucking race. Take your time, learn, and then eventually you will make it happen. But you got to take it in little bits, or else you're just going to be like, nah, I'm good. I'm good. I don't want to do this.
No, that's fucking insane, because like even in our current society we have as much, you know, like I'm not gonna have the opportunity. No.
Well, shit, you never know.
No.
Giving up. See, that's it. That's it. So you're just automatic like, no, no. I'm like, well, duh. I guess not. I think the first thing you should learn how to do is learn how to talk to people. It's kind of a big fucking deal. I get it. Don't worry. I'm a fucking loner too. But like, you got to learn how to be able to communicate. Because the whole time I've seen you just do, meh. You got to give a fuck.
Is there a possibility of promotion in the Dunkin' Donuts corporate apparatus?
That's not happening.
Well, I don't know why I'd want to do that. Then I would lose union protections.
Channel 5 Live Worldwide, Hollywood and Vine.
Fuck the authority. Channel 5 News.
Channel 55.
I fucking love this channel.
With costers.
I fucking love this channel so fucking much. Again, if you... What the fuck was that scream? That's so good. But listen, this has been... Just going back with the video, I'm just thinking to myself, you gotta... I said this like 5,000 times now, but I'm gonna say it again. You can't just give up like that. I get it. Again, I get it. Like this is probably one of our worst times for the economy and everything else. But again, the bar is so fucking low right now for most like people. Clearly, they just give up. So if you just give a fuck just a little bit more each day, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Listen, I'm sure it's not just me. There's many others here that have literally worked from nothing to something. You know, Junie, I saw you in here earlier. I'm sure you've had to like really fucking like kick ass. I know you were doing your schooling and you kicked ass there. And I bet you it felt like it was like, oh God, I can't do this. But you know what? You fucking did it. And I bet you there's many, many, many others here. So it's just one of those things. It's one of those things. Also, I've never worked for a union or with a union. Not exactly sure what that is. But yes, whether it's school, trade school, or even like, again, you could be a fucking roofer. You can be, God, there's so many fucking jobs. I can't even think about it. Educate yourself. Learn how to advance. Or hell, we live in a time now. Like, okay, I'm gonna put a pin in it right now. But look at what I'm doing right here. Look at what anybody can do right here. You can be this expert artist or even like a novice. You can work on doing this little streaming thing. You could be able, like, I have never, ever seen anything like this. And again, I was a normie for most of my life. I've only been streaming for the last 3.5 years, and I didn't have this growing up. being able to yap to people, being able to do your hobbies. Because again, so many people can advertise their hobbies here, whether it's art, whether it's like in music, whether it's being able to yap to people, because that's pretty much all I got. But I like that. That's something I had to learn. But again, this is something that I truly love, and I would have never fucking known. And again, I have my actual like IRL job, but like I'm sure that if I ever quit that job, I'm sure that I would be able to do just fine here. So overall, I feel like this it's a very good video, but I do think to myself that we live in a time now where just people just don't want to try, which is unfortunate. Again, jobs and everything else right now kind of make you feel like, oh, I can't do anything, but you can. But yeah, great fucking video. Here is the video. Please go and check them out. Channel 5 News is one of my favorites. One of my fucking favorites. So yes, please go and check them out. And again, I would love to go over their videos more and more, but most of the time their videos are really long. And as you know, especially with me, I can make a 11-minute video like fucking like an hour and a half. So, but yeah, really good video.